Hey Ritesh, how are you doing? Hey there, thank you for joining these spaces today. Today we have Wowtalkies with us. We are going to talk about creators and a lot of things. We are waiting for Ritesh and his team to join as speaker. We have Ritesh already here. Hey Ritesh, how are you doing? How are things?
I'm very good. Thanks for having me here, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you for joining the spaces. Before we start, I would, we'll wait just a few minutes for people to join. If more people are joining, they can listen over here or they can listen to us on YouTube. Meanwhile, I'll just share about MetaPath. So, MetaPath is a Web3 aggregator where we aggregate all things Web3. You have an atomic swap, you have an NFT marketplace. On atomic swap, you can swap over 300 cryptocurrency over 40 plus blockchains. And in NFT marketplace, you can buy NFTs from over six different chains with any cryptocurrency or any NFTs you want. We also have AI products. So if you are a ChatGPT Pro user, you can use MetaPath plugin to do your NFT research, to do your Web3 related research and analysis. Uh, so yeah, that's about MetaPath. Now, I think we can start the spaces. Ritesh, can you please introduce yourself and what you are doing?
This is Ritesh. More than a couple of decades in tech, I've worked across the globe, consulted at organizations large and small in my previous avatars. I've been in the startup world for almost a better part of a decade now. This is my first stint at Web3. At Wowtalkies, I handle everything that's non-tech. I'm incidentally the CEO as well. So that's a short intro to me.
Awesome. So, we would love to learn more about Wow Talkies, and to do that, I have prepared some questions so we can learn and see what Wow Talkies are doing and what you are building. So I'll get into the questions. So, how did the idea of creating a fan engagement platform specifically for movies came about? Like, what was the motivation behind it?
Yeah, very simple so to say, in the sense that I have been an inveterate movie fan for almost a large part of my life. I almost flunked college, engineering college, because I used to do first day first shows on Friday, and then that first day first show timing coincided with a lab that my head of department used to take. So my attendance was low. I was pretty good at studies, and I had to beg my HOD to help me to allow me to appear in exams. So that is the extent of my fandom, so to say. I knew that there will be a problem with my attendance, but I still used to go first day first show. But irrespective, I firmly believe that yes, fandom basically arose whenever from the time that celebrities have been in vogue. Whenever somebody has uh, since the existence of celebrities, let me put it that way. And when did the existence of celebrities begin? I think the existence of celebrities began when the print media started, right? Which was, I think, early part of the 20th century. So there has to be some method of fans to basically figure out as to what celebrities are doing. Celebrities do not exist without fans, and well, Fans have these celebrities that they basically relate to, espouse to, stuff like that. So if you look at it from a celebrity perspective, over all the internet models that we've been through, including the non-internet world as well, celebrities always had very, very few mechanisms in order to be able to monetize. Now, before the internet came into being, the only way that they could monetize is by doing shows. Now when the internet came into being, they have these huge followings on Twitter and Telegram, and not Telegram, sorry, Twitter and TikTok and stuff like that, Twitter, Instagram, and stuff like that. But do they monetize? Do they take care of their fans? Not really. All these big followings help them monetize in a circuitous manner by increasing their brand value, and hence they basically being asked by brands to appear in ads, cut ribbons, and stuff like that, right? So we solved for the celebrities part of inculcating fandom when me and my co-founder Sai, we helped build what is now the largest digital fan platform for football. We helped yeah, we so celebrities are one. There are celebrity custodians, right? So celebrity custodians are, for instance, football clubs are custodians of all football players. They own all the image rights. Similarly, production houses are custodians of all the actors that appear in their films. They own all the image rights, right? So celebrities and the custodians of celebrities are basically synonymous. So we helped in this case solve for the celebrity perspective when a lot of football clubs across Europe wanted to say that, well, we are doing a lot of stuff on Facebook, but we're not earning any revenue at all. The content belongs to us, but the revenue belongs to Facebook. To hell with it. Let's change the model. Let's monetize our own content per se. So this experience at helping to build this is where was our first endeavor in solving for fan engagement. And then we thought that we knew a bit about as to how the equation between celebrities and fans works. It is a multi-sided network. We knew a bit around how fans would want to engage and how celebrities would want to engage as well. And hence we said that, hey, we've solved for the celebrity perspective. Now, can we solve for the fan perspective? Which is how this idea of Wowtalkies arose. So Wowtalkies is basically to solve for fan engagement from a fan perspective. We did it in movie and entertainment because we thought, well, movie and entertainment fandom is a white space that nobody has tried to capture. If you look at vociferous fandom, there are, according to me, four things that come to fore: sports, movies and entertainment, politics, and religion. I'm saying there's fandom on a religion, but it's more followship. Politics and religion are too controversial. We had done something for sports. We said movies are white space. Let's try and do something for movies. So, which is why the origination of Wow Talkies, why we are doing what we're doing. We are inveterate movie fans, as I said. We've built fan engagement before. We're just trying to take our experience and our native fandom from of who we are into what we're trying to do with Wow Talkies.
Wow, that's a really interesting story about how you came to the fan side of things and how you are trying to improve the fan experience. Wow, that's a really cool story, and really excellent way to explain how you got to the idea of Wowtalkies. Thank you for that. So there are other fan engagement platforms. So, like, what sets Wowtalkies apart from the other fan engagement platforms?
Kevin, I will beg to disagree. There's no fan engagement platform, either in Web 2 or Web 3. So essentially,
Yeah.
when you look at fan engagement platforms, you're looking at people basically collecting collectibles. Fans of sports, for instance, going to something like Super Rare or Variable and collecting collectibles, or some a fan of movies going to somebody like a place like Weave or Bollycoin, or something like that to collect collectibles. That's I call them NFT platforms, which are basically giving NFTs as a part of commerce. There is no fan engagement around it. I mean, uh, people are collecting collectibles from a perspective of more from a speculation point of view, not to proclaim that, well, how in what manner am I the biggest fan of Amitabh Bachchan or Akshay Kumar um, or Kareena Kapoor or Deepika Padukone or anybody whom I espouse, like, follow, etc. Is there any way that I can proclaim that, well, I am just by purchasing a Deepika Padukone NFT that I'm a Deepika Padukone superfan? Tell me. There's none. So the fan engagement platforms that are there in vogue are very unitary. They are methods of commerce, and they are still centralized in the sense that somebody is giving collectibles for somebody else to purchase. Once the collectible thing is done, the interaction is done as well. Done, dusted. I don't call it fan engagement at all, which is how we are differentiating. We are not unitary. We are a fan to superfan platform. We are basically community led, in the sense that, well, look at it this way. Um, if all of us are in a movie hall and there's a brilliant scene that we like, etc., then people clap, right? How silly would it be if only one person claps? What's the message here? The message is that all fandom is very, very community led. It is mass. While the expression is individual, fandom is mass. So what is the best method of doing it? Which is what we are trying to do. We are trying to do a fan to superfan journey in a community-led model, all on the platform per se, which is why I think traditional fan engagement, even on Web3, is not fan engagement per se. Those are collectible projects, not fan engagement projects.
So when I wrote this question, I think I'm going a bit off track, but when I wrote this question, in my head, I was thinking about platforms like Patreon. I was thinking where people can tip the creators that they like, or
Right,
let's say YouTube, subscribers and then join the
right,
small community. Like you pay a little and then join community. On Twitter, there is similar thing where you get to talk to people,
right,
or you get to attend some private stuff that not like, let's say a YouTuber has a million followers and then in
right,
like there are 1,000 subscribers, like 1,000 people who are paying them, and like they can do a call with 1,000 people, so it's something private. So when I was thinking of something like this, like other engagement platforms, I was thinking of places like Patreon. I was thinking of places like this YouTube community, or Twitter, paid groups or something like that. So how does Wowtalkie differ from such platforms, or am I completely missing the point here?
Yeah, so these are great examples. I call them content subscription platforms. Yeah.
Yeah,
Again, let me put it this way. Fan engagement is basically where you and me can talk about our fandom, and as part of that, we can get other people along and engage on something that we like. Yeah. Now, if I were purchasing a Patreon subscription, or a Cameo subscription, or for instance, I was going to one of these celebrity wish platforms. I mean, Cameo is a celebrity wish platform. But stuff like that, right? In the sense that, there are we basically getting together as fans, in engaging. What is engaging, right? Engaging is people getting together. Right? That is what engagement is about. Subscription is people consuming things in again a very, very unitary manner, which is where the basic difference is. So here the idea is that, anybody who's a fan of any sort joins a community or creates a community on the platform that he or she likes, and then as part of that invites other people, and people engage with each other and on the platform. They create content, they consume content, and as part of whatever they do in an engage to earn model, they earn credibility. They move up a fan to superfan leaderboard, and the more they move up a fan to superfan leaderboard, the better they have the privileges in order to be able to monetize their presence and monetize the content that they are either creating or consuming.
well,
That
yeah,
essentially, that essentially is fan
yeah.
engagement. Me,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, yeah.
now I understand the difference between what you are building and what other is. So I think in other models, fans are paying and for getting something personalized, but here they are not really getting in touch with creators, but they are getting in touch with other fans who want to do something about the art or creator or something like that. And for that there is something called earn to engage model. So can you please elaborate on that, like what is engage to earn model?
So it's very simple in the sense that for everything that I do on the platform, I earn points. The more points I earn, the more privileges I get. Let me get back to what you mentioned. That now, for instance, if you go to something like TrueFan, uh, per, I can uh, pay $500 for a celebrity wish, yeah, on my birthday, etc. We are not saying that we won't allow something like this to happen on Wowtalkies. We definitely will. But in this model, it is very clear that, well, this is very, very celebrity centric. Yeah. We are saying that this is not the primary method of engagement. The method of engagement is people engaging with each other on a movie and entertainment property that they like, and as part of that, if the celebrity also becomes a part of the engagement, so be it, and no problem on that at all. Yeah, but celebrity is not the center of the universe here. So engage to earn is very simple. The more I engage with the platform, the more points I earn. The more points I earn, the more privileges I get in order to be able to monetize my presence. For example, assuming that I had a certain number of points, I got to a gold level on the platform. If I get to a gold level on the platform, I'm able to create content. If I'm a part of the Akshay Kumar community, I can create a contest to say that who does the Akshay Kumar Chura Ke Dil Mera Goriya Chali dance the best. And then I create the contest. People participate in the contest. For whoever participates in the contest, I earn a take rate. And then, well, it is a community-led feeling. There are these five guys who did this video pretty well. They can put a prize on other people viewing the content to say that, well, here this is. These are the five best videos enacted by fans of doing this. People enact videos on TikTok as well. Everybody can see those videos, but here, what me can do in a decentralized manner is that, well, I won this contest. So, in which case, whoever looks at my video will be behind a toll gate. Needs to pay me a certain amount of Matic or USDT or Ether or whatever the native currency is, or even pays me in fiat. So essentially, in an engage to earn model, the more points somebody earns, the more content monetization opportunities open, the more privileges open. Um, Over a period of time, as we get tokens as well, some of these points can also be converted to tokens for people to basically monetize it in a social token kind of a capability as well.
Awesome. That's really cool to hear. Is there any role of NFTs on your platform? And if there is, what is it?
So absolutely, in the sense that I can decide because I won this contest of the Akshay Kumar video and people loved it, right? So this is my fan community. I can decide that I want to basically monetize it as an NFT. Yeah, so I can put it on the chain. Nobody prevents me from doing that. We have an NFT marketplace as well as part of the composite platform. So NFTs here are content artifacts that are consumed, that are also rented and lent, that are also lent and rented. So imagine that, imagine that there is that to reach a gold level, there is a certain NFT that I need to own for certain tasks that need to be completed. So in which case I can lend that NFT to you and you can rent it to be able to complete those tasks so that you can move up a fan leaderboard as well. So one method of NFT is where you were able to sell and monetize immediately. Second method of NFT is where you own the NFT, you can lend it out for other people to rent. There is a third very interesting model on collectibles per se. We do a lot of AI and AR. So essentially, what we do on the AI and AR aspects is we have our own patented is not the right word. We have our own trained face swap tech. So I could be James Bond in a James Bond poster or James Bond in a James Bond still. So you remember that iconic James Bond scene where he walks and he shoots people, correct? Which is the introductory scene of every James Bond movie that we watch. Yeah. So in which case, imagine that was a collectible. Using face swap tech, I can become James Bond. Yeah. Now all that is possible through AI. So if I owned that James Bond collectible, then in which case I could basically lend it out for everybody to use it along with face swap tech, so everybody can become James Bond. So there are these possibilities around NFTs as well. NFTs as in selling items, NFTs as in renting and as in lending and renting items, NFT as in AI immersive experiences for myself as an owner of the NFT, and AI AR immersive experiences for others as part of the lending and renting model. So NFTs is an innate part of the equation, but again, we are not an NFT marketplace. We are just building the NFT ecosystem into the flywheel of the fan to super fan journey.
Yeah, that's a really cool engagement model, and that's really cool community model where where there is an opportunity for competition between different communities. I can totally imagine there are two, actors or two football players, or let's say two movies, and their fans trying to beat each other in community and stuff like that. It's a really interesting model to have, uh, and those kind of features that you told me about NFTs are really exciting for me. Lending the NFTs and NFTs being able to give you a higher spot in a community ranking. So what is your favorite feature in Wowtalkies, and what is the upcoming feature that you are most excited about?
Yeah, I absolutely love the AI face swaps. Who wouldn't want to become James Bond? Yeah, and
I want
it's not just me. Wherever I mean, in all demos that we show the AI face swaps on stills and videos, people love it. Yeah, they just have this vicarious pleasure of being a celebrity themselves. Now, for instance, if I had the if we had the IP of say the Jhumle Pathan song, then who wouldn't want to dance with Deepika? Or if I were a lady, who wouldn't want to dance with Shah Rukh? Very very simple. It's immersive experiences at its core. um, so we've done a lot of what I just told you about. The AI experiences are live, the community-led networks is live, the marketplace is live, etc. We still haven't done the entire fan to superfan journey with the flywheel of gamification, content, collectibles, monetization, points, etc. That is what needs to be uh, built perfectly, and there are many many use cases here, and each use case is distinct, but then needs to tie in with the other use case as well. That is how the flywheel will work. Uh, so that is what the fan to super fan journey, along with the leaderboard, is something that we need to attempt in the next 3 months.
Thank you so much for answering that. Now, I see you have been active for over 3 years now, I think around 3 years. So what has been the journey of the product? What has been journey of your team? How has the platform evolved over last 3 years from
Yeah.
idea to wherever it is right now?
So the company was incorporated some time ago. We did not start building in seriousness. We spent a lot of time in basically doing these focus group interviews to try and figure out as to what would fans like, etc. We built our when at the beginning of the conversation I mentioned that this is my first avatar at Web3, right? So we built on Web2 first. Yeah. We built a Tamil and English app. It was also called Wowtalkies. We were fairly successful there. We had upwards of 3 lakh downloads. We had an average time spent on peak at around 4 minutes. 4 minutes does not look like big time, but let me tell you, Instagram in India is 18 minutes. per visitor. Yeah. So for us, who was just bootstrapped, we didn't have any investment then. For us, who were just bootstrapped and were running it on our own, 4 minutes is nothing to scoff at. So the first part of the product was a Tamil and English app, more than 3 lakh downloads, called Wowtalkies on Web2. The Tamil and English helped us to understand as to what kind of features would fans like. Before AI became fashionable and famous, we were doing a lot of AI on the old Wowtalkies app. Yeah. So the face swap models that I just spoke about, we built them one and a half years ago, and we've spent that amount of time in basically being able to train them to for them to do whatever they are doing effectively enough, right? We spent that time, and then we pivoted, not the right word, we um, enhanced our journey by moving to Web3, starting building on Web3 latter part of last year. We have built on the blockchain from 2017 onwards as part of our earlier jobs. So blockchain was also always something familiar to us. Was always something familiar to us. We just were a bit circumspect as to how the Web3 kind of a model will work. But then there was no other choice, because in the earlier model, what used to happen was that for us to sustain the 4 minutes and to extend it, we were creating a lot of content. Because there was no self-incentivization mechanism that we could do on Web2. So which is why it was very, very logical and necessary to move to Web3, so that we can, in a decentralized, self-incentivized manner, in a community-led kind of a mechanism, basically be able to incentivize fans to be able to create content by themselves, rather than we doing it. Otherwise, in our old method, while we were uh, okay, we had according to me, decent product market fit, but we were becoming a content company. We were just running content every day, which is what this pivot avoids. So that's been our journey. Although the companies were incorporated in 2020, the first version of the Web2 app went live in 2021. By mid of 2022, we had 3 lakh downloads and more than 4 minutes per visitor. We were still bootstrapped. We burnt a lot of our own money in trying to run the content wheel, which is when we said that, well, this is not scalable. We can't compete with people who have big purses on creating content, which is why we moved to Web3. And what you see right now and what I explained is the Web3 avatar.
Well, that's a really awesome journey to, getting 300,000 users on your platform is remarkable. So you have had 300,000 users on your application, and I'm guessing that's Web2 application. What is your strategy in long run to build similar kind of audience on your Web3 applications as well?
So I think it will take a bit of time on the Web2 side. We bootstrapped it, mostly organic. It took us a year to get to that level. Here, with the native abilities of being able to do community building, we think that yeah, approximately the same amount of time. There are also constraints on the infrastructure side also, that we need to take care of. Initial audiences will be just India. The fan base is predominantly Web2, so the user experience for the Web2 guys to come into Web3 needs to be taken care of as well. A lot of Web3 audience in India is basically India as an initial market is basically more a DeFi audience. There is a gaming audience as well. This is new. This is a new concept. Um, so in the initial 6 months, Kevin, we're gonna focus less on getting number of downloads, and more on the parameters of average time spent, what features do people like, what features are people using, retention rates, number of transactions per person. That is what we're going to focus on. We're going to focus more on the repeatability side, rather than the individual metrics of downloads and acquisition. According to us, we have some skills around running uh, running the equation of recurrence and repetition, while the acquisition equation in a bootstrap manner is very difficult to run. We also need to understand that this is the bear market. So that is what we are going to focus on. We're going to focus on retention and repeatability over the next 6 months. And then that will also help us figure out the finesse of the features and be able to finesse the features as well. And once we are comfortable saying that, hey, on the repeatability side, I think we have a better product market fit, is when we are going to extend our, what should I say, extend our bandwidth to acquire more users. Acquire more users in the thousands, which is not to say that we not acquire users now, but acquire more users in the thousands and thousands.
I mean that's pretty fair. I completely understand that there is a huge difference between Web 2 user and Web 3 users, while the whole user experience around wallets and everything is not as simple as we are accustomed to in Web 2. So it's a pretty fair strategy, and thank you for sharing that with us. In Web 3, we hear a lot about partnerships. There are a lot of growth depends on partnerships, and a lot of development of the product depends on the partnerships as well. So, are there any partnerships that you are involved in, and how does those partnerships help your platform?
So partnerships are the lifeblood for anybody who in Web3, because the industry is so incipient, you can't do anything without partnerships. For example, in the Web2 world, you can just take an Amazon subscription, and there is a lot of literature available for you to run a serverless compute instance with Amazon Lambda. That's been there, done that. People already know how to do it. Yeah. In Web3, how do you figure? In the sense that even if I need to run a marketing campaign, I need partners to run the marketing campaign with, and each product works differently. So in which case, it's not fill it, shut it, forget it. And there has to be some amount of engagement with the partner, so to say, so that I'm able to run a campaign successfully, right? Because the playbook is not yet set. Which is why I think partnerships are very, very paramount, and partnerships are at all levels, right? Partnerships are at the infra level, partnerships are at the tooling level. So infra meaning L1s and L2s, tooling meaning people like Alchemy, Bioeconomy, uh, Infura, stuff like that. Yeah. Partnerships are at a community level, people who can help you build community leadership. Partnerships are at a marketing, or from a marketing philosophy. Partnerships are ecosystem partners. So how can we basically, for the same Web3 user base, have somebody who's a Web3 user get the best of both worlds, because you and me, we are partners, right? Stuff like that. For instance, you are I'm attending an AMA that you've organized on your spaces, yeah, for your audience. It's just that, how can we evangelize the ecosystem better? So, I mean, partnerships for us have played a major role in all these entities that I spoke about. Yeah, right from infra to layers to marketing to fellow ecosystem partners. We are what we are because of the help that we've got from the partner ecosystem.
Are there any cool partnerships or collaboration that are coming and that you can share? And what would they do for your platform?
So there are some cool partnerships that will come with production houses. Yeah, you will see a few announced in the next 3 months. So the production houses will come on board and help us basically kick off this community building efforts. Yeah, I cannot name them because we are still under non-disclosure. But then we will continue to be under non-disclosure till the property launches. But what I can say is, next 3 months there will be very, very popular production houses that will basically launch community building on their entertainment properties on the platform, or use our AI AR SDK on to be able to give AI AR experiences of the kind that I spoke about on their platform. That is on the partnership side. That is something that we're very excited about. and these production houses are from the Hindi speaking industries, as well as regional industries.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I definitely understand the non-disclosure terms. So yeah, no worries. You have built for 3 years. You have built an app in Web 2. You have built an app in Web 3. I personally myself have a game that I developed. I think 4 months ago. That's a Web 2 game that I just wanted to develop, and I wanted to learn some sort of programming and stuff like that. So I created it and put it out. So, with your experience, what are like some of the biggest challenges that you have faced building this startup, both in Web 2 and Web 3? If you can share about like how they differ in both Web 2 and Web 3, we would love to learn from your experience. So, what are some of the biggest challenges that you have faced since 2020, and how did you overcome them?
On the traditional internet side, I think in both industries the challenges are more or less the same. The nuances of the challenges differ, and the challenges are exacerbated whenever the market is bad. But I believe that the parameters for both these industries will in the next couple of years actually be the same. Yeah, the mechanism, the internet models will differ, but then the challenges will be the same. For example, any new product, whether it is B2B or B2C or anything in between, in both the industries will be measured by adoption. Yeah, which was not the case with Web3 when everybody was gung ho about Web3, which is fine in the sense that it was new. So everybody was more interested in the idea, excited about the idea rather than the adoption of the idea. So the biggest challenge for at both the internet models for us has been adoption and growth. Very very simply put. In Web3, the challenges are aggravated because, I mean, adoption is also a function of infrastructure, right? So there are certain amount of users on Polygon, there are certain amount of users on Binance, there are certain amount of users on Solana. So the ecosystem is fractured. Well, in Web3, I cannot basically cater to adoption for the entire Web3 eco base because, well, the eco base is split, which is, I think, a great adoption challenge as far as Web3 is concerned. On the infra side, I mean, a lot of the Web2 challenges have been taken care of because the infra is stable. If somebody was building something in 2017, 2018, I mean, and I mean it because we built the financial platform 2016, 2017, the software as a service model was still emerging. Yeah, we didn't. We would be hard pressed to find a serverless compute instance, etc., right? Which you could spin out just by yourself. But then, while we are speaking now, that ecosystem is set. It is it is easier to build for an entire ecosystem. In Web3 also has the challenge that, well, because everything is decentralized, everything is open source, it is more difficult to build what you will typically call as a competitive advantage or a moat. Yeah, I mean, you open source your code, everybody looks at your code, they can basically figure out as to what you're doing and build the same thing easily enough. So, which are challenges as far as the Web3 models are concerned. Otherwise, I think the challenges are the same. Resource scarcity is more on Web3. Um, the market impediments in a bad market are more in Web3. Because I mean, we are looking at a finite base here of resources, finite base of finance, finite base of strategic capital, right? So that is more as well. But then on the Web3 side, community building gives you a big leg up on adoption. Community building gives you a big leg up as far as having uh, early followers and getting your platform to scale is concerned, right? You can do a lot of more things organically in Web3 that you wouldn't be able to do in Web2. You'll have to spend a lot of money doing that. So yeah, those are the challenges basically. Challenges are more or less the same with their nuances.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. One more question, and it's very similar to what I asked just before. Is what are some key insights that you have gained from Web3 users, uh, and how have they shaped your product? What kind of decisions that they have impacted?
So irrespective of Web3 or Web2, everybody likes seamless user experience, especially in a product that is consumer oriented. That is a very simple, very simple and easy to understand fact. Um, just give me a moment. Just choking on my own voice. Second essentially is from a Web3 perspective, the more you are able to enlarge to be able to encompass a greater facet of the Web3 ecosystem, and the more love is showered to you as far as the Web3 users are concerned. Third, Web3 users, while they are Web3 in nature, they are more willing to adopt something that they think is interesting. Yeah, or it's also a factor because I mean something that is interesting in Web3 for a Web3 user has not been done in Web3 before, which is why from an early adopter perspective, Web3 users are more inveterate. They're less scared. Adoption happens easier. Yeah. Yeah. So those are the top three. What would I call it? Nuances as far as the three users are concerned that immediately come.
Yeah, thank you so much for answering that. Now, before we end the spaces, would you like to share something with the community? How can they experience the product? Where they can go and download? What kind of things that they can do, or what kind of things you suggest users to do on your platform?
Yeah, so just search for Wowtalkies on Discord, Telegram, and Twitter. Please join our communities. Go to the Play Store, type in Wowtalkies, WOWTALKIES. You will get to see the app, download the app, play around with it. We are early as far as adoption is concerned. So any feedback that you guys have on things that we can do better as part of the product that we built is very welcome. You won't find us being offended on feedback at all. We absolutely realize that these are early stages, and hence the more you guys can help us evangelize, the more you guys can help us perfect whatever we're building, the better it is for all of us. So yeah, that is just what I had as in the kind of help that I could request the community to give us. The best way to stay in touch is traditional Twitter, Telegram, Discord. Um, we are more active on Twitter and Discord, less on Telegram. But yeah, it's a small team. If you ping us, if you reach out to us for anything that you need, more often than not, you'll get a response back.
Hey, Yash, thank you so much for joining the spaces today. It was absolutely lovely speaking with you. We learned a lot about fan engagement and what you are building at Wowtalkies, and we are really excited to look forward to it. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining.
It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me over, Kevin. We should do this more often. Lovely doing this.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for listening. If you are listening on Twitter or if you are listening on YouTube, thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.